We had heard that the president was not pleased with Rod Rosenstein. He's also not pleased, of course, with the Attorney General Jeff Sessions, who recused himself from the Mueller probe. But there was all indications that the president would wait until after Election Day to do anything about this. So what's the benefit to acting before the midterm elections?
Well, I'm not sure there is a benefit politically. As you said, if he does fire the Deputy Attorney General, that adds a political element to this, to the next election. If he just holds his fire for a little while, does something the day after the election, that might be more palpable politically. However, it's hard to predict what this White House is going to do.
When we're trying to predict, when we're trying to look at where the dust might settle, I've been reading that the line of succession could see the Solicitor General, that's Noel Francisco, coming in. What might that mean? Because he's a big Trump supporter, right?
Correct. The Solicitor General would be the next person in line to take over the Mueller investigation. It has to be someone who's been approved by the Senate. And right now, given the recusal of the Attorney General, there's only a couple people in the administration in the Department of Justice and Solicitor General that can handle that. The current Solicitor General has been a proponent, if you will, of some of the president's policies. He's been skeptical in the past of independent counsel, not necessarily this specific investigation, but just generally. So it would be interesting if someone comes in who might not be a fan of the investigation and while might not shut it down, because that would cause, again, a political uproar, could certainly slow walk it. Anything Mueller does has to go through the person who's in charge of it. Now it's the Deputy Attorney General. If that moves to the Solicitor General, that could change the dynamics.
I like the way you put that, slow walk it. We know the White House wants to end the Mueller probe as quickly as possible. Is there any way in which Rosenstein's departure would not just slow walk the investigation, but prolong it in a way that would reflect badly on the White House?
It might. The one thing we do know, and appropriately so, is that Mueller and his team of investigators and prosecutors are simply going to follow the evidence where it goes. They're going to land indictments when we don't expect it, such as the Russia investigation, where Autobots were infiltrating the election or trying to influence, certainly. We didn't know about that the day before. So this train is going to keep going. The problem's going to be what happens at the end. A report, if there's no indictment, and I don't think there'll be an indictment under DOJ policy. So if we go with that, it's going to be a report to the now Deputy Attorney General, but then could be the Solicitor General. What does he do with it? He doesn't have to do anything. He does not have to make it public. He could put it in a drawer, or he could send it to Congress. So that's the first line of attack, if you will. And then it depends on who's running Congress. Is it the Democrats or the Republicans?
Meanwhile, how much protection can be offered to Special Counsel Mueller in any way?
Good question.
Absolutely none. The president can end this investigation tomorrow if he wanted to. Now, again, there'll be some ramifications, but this can stop. It's not written in stone that this investigation needs to continue. The Deputy Attorney General could end it today. The Solicitor General, if he's in charge of the investigation, could end it tomorrow. The president can fire anybody he wants at any time he wants within the Department of Justice. So it really is up to the White House. The only thing I think that's forestalling some of these things are the political ramification and pending elections.
Do we know if President Trump's firing of Robert Mueller, even indirectly, for instance, through a new Deputy Attorney General or through the Solicitor General, now that the Attorney General, Jeff Sessions, is not part of this, do we know whether that serves as a red line to anyone in Congress? Are they going to view that as a point where they need to step in and perhaps pass some legislation that says the president can't do that?
Well, the Republicans have certainly been reluctant to do that to the point. There have been Democrats, former prosecutors within Congress, who have offered that legislation. Not surprisingly, the Republicans haven't really taken that up. So while they say Mueller should continue his work, while they say the investigation is important, they're not willing to put a law under it. So right now, it is entirely up to the White House. Now, again, that dynamic changes if there's a transfer in power in Congress in January when a new Congress takes over. So the next few months, I think, are going to be very important.